Hi, this is a Java demo. First, we should know what is the necessity of learning any programming language. We have different programming languages, Java, .NET, PHP. So the main purpose of learning any language is to develop software. Software can be of different types, system software and application software. System software means operating system, which consists of Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Application software means MS Office, the games we play, the VLC we use, the Skype, or any software we are using in a system known as application software. To develop this software, we need to learn any language. So before programming languages, what language we used to use? Like system understands the basic language known as machine language, which consists of ones and zeros. Here, writing that code in ones and zeros is a bit difficult for the programmer. So what they have done, they introduced assembly language. It consists of instructions. So based on the instructions, the machine will execute. For example, if I want to perform an addition, so I can say move a comma 10. 10 value is being stored in A. Move b comma 20. 20 value is stored in B. And for addition, we need to write add a comma b. So for adding two values, I have written three instructions. If you want to add again two values, again three instructions must be written. So in this process, the length of the code is increasing, which is bad. To overcome this, we are using the programming language, where it uses just simple English to write that code. So which is better? Programming language, as it is easily understandable. So here, system cannot understand assembly language or programming language. So for that, we need softwares. For programming language, we have a compiler which converts this programming language into machine language. The same way, there is an assembler for the assembly language which converts the assembly language into machine language. So what is the first programming language introduced in the market? Fortran was introduced by a company known as IBM in the year 1954. So Fortran means formula translation, which develops math related applications. Suppose if I want to develop any other application, I have several languages like COBOL, ALGOL, BCPL, CPL, Pascal. So all these languages develop a particular application. Now, which is better? One language developing one application or one language developing all the applications? We can say that one language developing all application is far better than one language developing one application. So at that moment, they introduced C language in the year 1972, which develops system software and application software both. That's the reason in the academics they start with the C language. So apart from C language, we have Java, which follows OOPS concept, which was developed in the year 1992. So here, OOPS means Object Oriented Programming System or structure. And the same way, PHP was introduced in the year 1996, which also follows OOPS concept. .NET was introduced in the year 2002, which also follows the OOPS concept. So what is OOPS? Object-oriented programming structure, which has 6 basic principles. If a language follows us all the six principles, we can say it as a OOPS language. But the thing is, Java follows all those six principles, whereas PHP follows only three: class, object, inheritance. Whereas .NET follows all the six. So you can say Java and .NET are more standard compared with PHP. So what's the difference between Java and .NET? Java is an open source, means the software is available for free. You don't have to pay anything. Whereas .NET is a paid source where you need to pay for the software. So here we need to understand what is OOPS. OOPS consists of six principles. We'll see the basic two principles based on which all the remaining four understands or can be understood. So here, what is class? Or what is object? Object is nothing but which exists physically or a real world entity. Like the surrounding objects near you will be a fan, a laptop, a mobile, a chair, a table, anything. So which exists physically or which has some properties and which can perform an action is an object. Now, what is not an object? Which doesn't exist. Example, like thoughts, energy, force, these doesn't exist. So we can call it as class, which doesn't exist. Suppose, for example, mango is there. Mango is an object and apple is there. Apple is an object because it has different properties. And here, if I say fruit, so fruit is a category. Mango is a fruit, apple is a fruit. So you haven't seen a fruit. So fruit is a class which is a collection of objects. That's the first thing we can say. So what is class? Class is a collection of variable or you can say objects. So here the class is nothing but collection of object means it also consists of properties and action, right? So collection of properties and action. Now consider I have an animal. Animal is a class which doesn't exist, whereas tiger exists. So tiger is an object. The same thing goes with the flower. Flower doesn't exist, whereas rose exists. So rose is an object and flower is a class. Similarly, person. So person is a class and Rahul is an object. So what are the different properties of Rahul or person? Age is a property, height, weight, color, name, all this comes under the properties. What are the different actions? Eat, read, talk, walk, all this comes under the actions. So we have seen the general example. Now I want to write a program in Java using this example. So class is a person. And here age is a property and height is also a property. Eat is an action, or you can say age and height are the variables and eat is a method. So class is also a collection of variables and methods. Here, class doesn't exist means there is no memory allocated for the class. Without memory, we can't store anything. For example, I have a movie of 1 GB and I want to store on the hard disk. So on the hard disk, if I have 1 GB space, I can store the movie. So the same way, if I want to store age equals to 22, some bytes or space is required for age, which doesn't exist for the class. So to allocate that space or memory, we create an object Rahul. So Rahul is a memory for that particular class person. And here we can access that age only using the Rahul. It's not that age which has the memory. It's that Rahul which has the memory for age. And if you want to access Rahul.age equals to 22, means inside the Rahul memory, there is 4 bytes memory allocated for age. So age equals to 22. Now the same thing if I want to create another memory like person Shiva. Shiva is another memory block where we can store different age. So if you want to access that age again, you need to use this Shiva object. So I cannot store age equals to 32 again. It should be done only using that Shiva. So if I say Shiva.age means age equals to 32. So what is the purpose of doing all these things? If you see the class person, here age is declared only once and I was able to access it Rahul.age first and Shiva.age second. So here the variables of a class or the methods are declared only once and can be accessed multiple number of times based on the number of objects. If I have 10 objects, I can access those variables and method 10 times. If I have n objects, I can access them n number of times. So if you understand this class and object, it will be easy to write the code. So next thing, so if you want to develop a web application using Java, you should know basic technologies. So these basic technologies are nothing but the front end, where it consists of .html, and here HTML is used to develop a web page. Coming to CSS is a cascading style sheet which applies the styles to the HTML page. JavaScript means client-side validation. Suppose if I'm not giving any value here for the username and password and I'm clicking on that login button, it will ask for please enter username and password. That is given by JavaScript. So here, if I enter the values and I click on that login button, these values should be checked with this database. Database is nothing but a storage area where all our details are being stored. So we can use different technologies like Oracle, MySQL, MongoDB or SQL Server. And here, if I am giving a username and password and clicking on login, these values are taken by the web server. And once these values are taken by the web server can only handle the static request. It cannot handle the dynamic request. So here static request means the home page or the contact us page of any website, which does not change with every request. Coming to the dynamic request, it's like your result page where for a given hall ticket number, the result will vary. So for every hall ticket, a different result will come. Similar to Facebook login or Gmail login, for every login page, a different profile will come. So here, web server can handle only static request. And what we are asking is a dynamic request. So these values will be taken by the server-side technologies. So we have different server-side technologies like servlets and JSP, or we can use the Spring and Hibernate frameworks. So here, these technologies of Java are used to handle the web applications where the values retrieved from the username and password are given to the database, and whether the database contains the values or not has been checked. After this, the database sends a confirmation. So based on the confirmation, the pages which we have are given to the web server, and web server will hand it to the user. So this is a basic process happens for every login or registration page. Now, what course content will cover? Like if you are going with the Java full stack, we'll cover first the core Java, which consists of the OOPS concepts, the inheritance, polymorphism, interface, abstract, nested classes, exception, multi-threading, and we'll see this advanced, which consists of basically JDBC, servlets, and JSP. So Hibernate is an extension of JDBC, and we can see that Spring framework, which has different modules like Spring Core, Spring JDBC DAO, and Spring ORM, Spring AOP, Spring MVC, and RESTful web services. So we'll cover these database technologies like TDL, DCL commands. These commands are sufficient for the programming part. And coming to the front end, we'll cover the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So this is the basic content. So that's it.